Hello, welcome and welcome back to the Reality Roundup. I'm Mariama, that's Maddie over there. This is our podcast where we talk about reality television. Today we're going to be talking about the challenge 40, the end, part two of the reunion.
We made it.
Yeah, we made it. Great
hmm
reunion.
I yes, I mean to be fair, my first challenge reunion ever, but I don't really have any
It was one
problems
of
with
the
it.
better ones in recent year. I actually I liked part two more than part one. I enjoyed the
Mm,
reunion. Like only a few people, well, only really one person was annoying me, Devin.
really?
Every time somebody spoke to Michelle, Devin had to like make a face or pipe up. It got tiring. I was just like, let Michelle stand on her too. Like,
Except when she said that thing about CT and then he threw her to the wolves.
well, I mean, like specifically in part two, like
Yeah.
every time someone spoke to Michelle, Devin added to or made faces or like, yeah, it was just like, okay, we get it,
Yes.
babes. Calm down.
Yes. I was
Um,
starting to feel like Amanda toward the end.
you want to get started? What were your thoughts on the reunion?
I was interested that we started with the Vacation Alliance because obviously I don't know any of the history of the Vacation Alliance. I wanted to know your opinion on Banana's opinion on the Vacation
What was
Alliance.
Banana's opinion again?
It was kind of that they were setting Josh up to be the fall guy. And Bananas was like weird, not angry, but like very like enthusiastic for lack of a better term about being like, no, like the Vacation Alliance has been targeting Josh, like Josh is the fall guy, Josh is the fall guy. And then we cut to like Amanda for a brief second where she says something like, get better friends or something. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like,
I
okay.
Okay. So yeah, Josh's loyalties are questioned. Not really a new thing for Josh. For Josh, the way Josh plays the game, and it annoyed me for years because Josh really is friends with everybody, and when you're friends with everybody, like I hate it for a few reasons. One, because they it robs some of the drama out of like keep I just really care about the show. I don't really care about them personally. It takes some of the drama out of like certain things.
Hmm.
Um
I believe that was your critique of Tori too.
yes. And I'll have more to say on that in our next video that we'll do shortly. Because there's someone specifically that I'm thinking about there too that kind of has that same effect on the game. But like with Josh and the Vacation Alliance today, I was actually really interested. I was mad like Tori kept like piping up because she obviously felt like offended. I was really interested in what Rachel was gonna say because I thought like the key issue that they had was Josh not fighting to try to convince Rachel to do something that she never wanted to do and she was never going to do. And
Yeah.
if anybody would have changed her mind, it just would have never been Josh. Like
Yeah.
so it seems like just such a ludicrous point to try to like argue with, especially if we're going like these are like my real life friends, like these are my friends unlike the rest of you. This is a real relationship. I think it's a really like I always think it's a really weird way. It's one of my biggest gripes with the new era. Actually, CT says this on his hometown episode. He talks about how like in the new era, like these friendships really do like have an impact, like way more of an impact on the way people vote and
Mm.
play the game and decide to politic within the game. Like where in his era, he felt like people kind of understood that like, hey, like we're friends but we're competing and
Mm.
etc. So when I was watching this, the thought that I had was like, if we're friends and we're competing, I also blame some of this on the formatting like of the show, but like if
Mm.
we're friends and we're competing, especially like when we're on teams, I'm going to help you as much as I can as long as you're not ever asking me to compromise my team, my position within my team, or the
Yeah.
position of other members within my team, because these are the people who are directly um, incentivized to help me win money.
Yeah.
And if I do something for you that alienates them, now it's not just that I'm helping you, it's that I'm putting my game on the line. And I just think you shouldn't put me in a position like that as a friend
Yeah.
to put my own personal game on the line for the sake of our friendship outside of the game.
hmm
It's a common theme of the show. I don't think Josh was wrong here. Like
I
I
don't think so.
uh, there I'm trying to think of like a point, but yeah, I don't think Josh was wrong here in this instance. I do think Josh has a like one of the things that's not working in his favor is he does really have a history of like having to toe the line with so many friendships. And I think when that's your history, people aren't going to be as charitable the next, the 11th time you do it as probably they
Yeah.
would have been if this was like the first or second.
Yeah. I loved it. Well, I didn't love it, but Josh, and then of course Josh got a little bit emotional, which I appreciated. Because I just find it interesting when he does. But it was just interesting to me that it was kind of like Bananas championing that idea. I was kind of like, I
Well,
don't
banana stands
think,
to benefit from it, right? Because it is directly kind of an attack on I mean, not Laurel, Rachel,
mhm.
and obviously Rachel was committing a move that bananas agreed with.
Yeah. And anything to kind of undermine Tori's game, Banana
Yeah.
is usually, or at least from what I know, Bananas is usually about that life. Josh and Laurel,
Yes.
why do I keep thinking Laurel's a lesbian? Why do I keep thinking that?
Laurel has dated women. She came out on the show. I
But
think she came.
she hasn't identified as a lesbian though.
I don't know what she identified as. I think she came out on the show and talked about like having an attraction to women or whatever.
Okay.
And then we've seen her date women or a woman. We'll get there too.
Oh
A
Lord.
woman. We've seen her date a woman on the show, but we've also seen her in multiple showmances with men on the show. I'm really only recalling one right now, but
Hmm.
oh no, yeah, at least two. Yeah, multiple showmances with men on the show. So
Okay.
Laurel, she's just a hot girl.
That's my bad. I thought Laurel identified as straight up as a lesbian, not that she was queer in
Why
any,
would you think
well,
that?
I don't know why I thought that Laura was a
That's
lesbian.
crazy.
I like thought that for some reason in my head, when she came out, she came like because you've told me this before, she came out as a lesbian and therefore was a lesbian moving forward.
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
don't know,
think
yeah,
I cannot recall that she ever even like used the
labeled it.
label, like
Yeah,
labeled it. I because I'm trying to
that's why I think I'm confused.
I can see the clip in my head of where she like talks about like struggling with that and da 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 and but
Hmm.
I can't recall if she goes like if she says she's bisexual or she's a lesbian or whatever. But I think she just kind of says
But
she's attracted to ladies. And then well, the next thing we sort of have that conversation when we come back between Tori, Bananas Angels, and Tori and Cars and their relationships, da 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 da.
mhm.
So Bananas, and this is something that I'm really interested in this season. Like this is something that I thought about a lot when the show was like sort of progressing when we got into the individual phase. Did Tori create the angels?
I don't think
Meaning,
so.
well, I'm not the angels, but did Tori create her circumstance of being fourth place in the finals on a season that she was probably favorite for?
I didn't buy that. To me, it just seems like there are too many moving pieces to specifically say that it was Tori's like doing, like that she kind
Yeah.
of boxed herself in.
So I'm not that stuck on the idea, but I think she was a big contributor. Like I think of course like Rachel is Rachel, Jenny is Jenny, right? You would always, Aviv is Aviv, Kara is Kara, Laurel is Laurel. All the big names are here. You would have always had to work your way through the women
Yeah.
of season 40, right?
Yes. Yes.
You would either have to get in there and take some of them out like you did with Casey. You would have had to orchestrate a couple of them going against each other like you did with Aviv and Jenny.
Hmm.
Or and like she took out Car as well too. But by targeting bananas, what you really do is you force a lot of those women to start protecting bananas, which really doesn't do what you want to do anyway against him.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Fair enough.
they there was a thought that I had about this when I was watching. Let me think. Let me think. So Tori, ugh, so so Tori has her issues with bananas. Then she goes and she gets loyalty from four of the like five of the men in the game, right?
Hmm.
And they're looking at this and they're going, okay, Tori got five men. Like, I had a more fleshed out thought about this. I wish I had wrote it down because now I can't like
Mm,
articulate it the way I was thinking about it
that's fine.
when I was watching the episode. No, but I do think there's something here to that because you kept Rachel and Jenny at the very least protected for much of the end game and then forced
Okay.
Michelle in 3 times.
I think, yeah. Yes.
That forced Michelle to like Michelle went into back to back like women's eliminations. You
Hmm.
forced Michelle to be in back to back women's eliminations because maybe she may not have been a target. Maybe if Tori doesn't put bananas there, like if she sticks to the way the game had been going and she throws in like a Nehemiah and like somebody that she wasn't working with,
Like avoiding targeting bananas, basically.
yes, or yes, like doesn't take the shot, um, and she because who sent Nehemiah home? Oh, he got purged.
With Laurel, yeah.
He got purged because she didn't target. Okay, but if you send in somebody like a Nehemiah or you get him voted in, and he comes back and he can't put a target on you, does he protect? Does he protect Jenny? He
Mm,
probably protects Naya. Like we know he's working with Naya, and then maybe Naya goes, "Hey, these are one of my girls," and he probably protects Rachel because that's old school, or maybe Aviv and Naya, right? But like he avoids those, and maybe the target goes elsewhere. Like the way I was thinking about it is in some ways, in either case, there were moves and choices
hmm.
that Tori could have made that could have gotten those other women in elimination organically. And
Yeah.
like we always say it on the challenge, like you really cannot like control an elimination round. Like,
Hmm.
like you never know what'll happen. We've seen so many upsets and this, that, and the third, right?
Hmm.
Or whatever.
So
So
do you think it really would have made that much of a difference in terms of the caliber of woman in the final, though?
yes,
If that's the
I think
argument.
I think there is a real possibility that maybe Rachel and Aviv don't make this right. Like maybe Rachel doesn't make the final, and that fourth
Mm,
spot is taken up by like an Olivia or a Naya, which is much easier competition, right? Or
okay.
there's maybe an opportunity where like Aviv ends up going against Michelle. Michelle was the strongest swimmer of the women in the final, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Michelle gets eliminated around episode 16 or 18. I think was a no 16 or maybe 14, like were the women eliminations.
Hmm.
Maybe Michelle does one of those against Rachel, and gets eliminated, and Michelle was the strongest swimmer. Now karma votes like notwithstanding, but like right? You get there, Tori.
Yeah.
You were out swimming and outperforming Rachel. One of your biggest competition really was Michelle. Of course, Jenny did what she did. She showed out. But like
Yeah.
if Jenny is still there and Michelle, the best swimmer, isn't there, Tori pulls out a couple of more second places, right? And Jenny did
Mm,
not do well. Jenny was last place in karma voting. Tori,
yeah.
maybe you have a bit of a gap on Rachel, and
You get a
you're you're
higher.
you're second place overall in karma votes if Olivia is there, right? Because they don't
Yeah.
know Olivia either. And Olivia
Mm,
is not a stronger swimmer, or maybe if Naya is there, right? Like
mm,
if let's say Jenny stays, Tori stays, and she runs this with like a combination of Kara and Olivia, right? Or
mm,
Aviv and Naya. Well, Kara's not a very strong swimmer. Naya's not a very strong swimmer. Olivia's okay, but Olivia is certainly not as good of a swimmer as Michelle is. And I'm not
yeah.
sure where Aviv is on swimming. But I think she's decent.
I don't think we
Like she
saw
was,
any swimming from her
she's
this
former
season.
military, so I'm assuming that she is competent in the water and competent, and
Hmm.
I know she's very competent with endurance.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna guess that she's probably about as good as Jenny,
Yeah.
if not slightly better. But
I mean, Bananas Angels are relatively, I would think, relatively equivalent in terms of like talent.
no, they're not. Like I mean, they're close, but everyone is close. Like Tori, Carr, all of the top women are
Hmm.
pretty close. Like that top bunch is close. What I'm talking about is like their skill sets. Maybe you get you get Naya and like Naya is gonna struggle on a couple of those puzzles. Olivia might
Mm-hmm.
struggle with the math, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
as strong of swimmers as Michelle.
Yeah.
Maybe um you can eke a few out from Jenny because now you really are like there were a few points where Tori was ahead of Jenny and then Jenny kind of just pulled away. But like you really are looking at a kind of different game, I think, if if like she didn't do that thing that kept sending Michelle in and you get rid of Naya, you get rid of Olivia,
Yeah.
you get rid of Eve, and then now you're looking at a final with a combination of at least two out of the three of Rachel, Jenny, and Cara Maria. And
Yeah.
she doesn't know. She didn't know this was a swimming final as well, too. Like she was assuming this was like a
Also,
regular.
do you think Bananas continue if Tori doesn't kind of because I remember that one specific moment, right, where she's like, haha, I don't feel like you can't like throw it back on me. Do you think Bananas continues to target Tori though, if she doesn't kind of honestly probably mostly have that moment where she starts hooting and hollering like, haha, you can't throw the target back
I
on me?
think I think Bananas like modus operandi is is gaslight gatekeep girl boss is to create
I had a feeling, yes.
no it's to create the chaos and
Yeah.
have deniability. Like
Yes.
Bananas is not the type of person that is because he loves being like narratively clean. He loves being like, you wronged me and I only did what I did, right? Because you wronged me.
Hmm.
And like
Hmm.
even though he's consistently been one of the most ruthless like political players in the game,
Yeah.
right? But he loves that like thing of like, you came for me and then so I get to come for you for the next three
Yeah.
challenges. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna hold this grudge and go, hey, like I didn't complain when you did it to me, although you certainly did complain that point and you complained at the reunion and you complained at the top of the season and then you
Baby, you
just and then
complain.
you lay quiet for a few episodes so you can bring it up later and use it against that person.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I think they still get to a point where they are challenging each other. But
Yeah.
like I also think Johnny was like genuinely hurt because he really fancied Tori a friend. And Tori was putting people like Corey and Derek above Bananas. I think he was just kind of hurt at that too. I think she could
Yeah.
establish that though. If she just saved it one time, he would have probably felt indebted to her at least for a few votes.
Yeah, I can understand the idea of pushing the conflict with Banana or kicking the can with Bananas down the line a little bit until you have knocked out a few other women before we have to contend with the
Yeah.
angels or even
The
the
only
idea of the angels at all.
one of the main reason I really don't like Tori's move here is she made Bananas a target to put him against Ryan and I don't remember the third person, but
Ooh.
it was
Ryan
never
was the little go-kart, right? Not the go-kart,
yeah,
but the thing.
yeah.
What other eliminations was Banana in this
No.
season?
I'm talking about that elimination. The night
Oh.
Devin went home when Tori won the elimination against Casey and she got to choose the three men to put targets on.
Mhm.
She chose Bananas, and then I think the other two choices were like Ryan and like maybe Nehemiah, but I'm not even sure. I'm
Were
not.
people volunteering?
No, this was an individual game. There was no longer errors. The errors were dissolved.
Oh, this, yes. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So errors were dissolved. It was an individual
Forgot about
game.
that.
Tori wins elimination. We're going into an individual game. Hey, tell me who the three male targets are. The man that comes in last place will have a thing. The target, the last place loser will go in automatically, and the other two will plead the case. And
Mhm.
Ryan went in automatically. Banana pled his case. They threw him in, right? But she threw. But I remember at that time thinking, like surely Ryan is like a good candidate for last place. Why
Yeah.
would you send Bananas in against Ryan? Because it doesn't really matter who he goes in against. He's gonna be pissed, and if you send him against Ryan and he doesn't go home, he's gonna come back pissed. I thought it was a
Yeah.
bad move. I thought it was a flashy move for the moment because your boy Devin just got eliminated, and you
Mhm.
get to now like give it to the guy that sent him home. But
Well, that's what she says in
I
confessional.
I think if she would have thought at that moment,
Hmm.
Banana's probably gonna survive this if I throw him in. This is like a momentary victory. Hey, I'm gonna target Ryan. Oh, she did all the boys from Attitude. Ryan, Nehemiah, Bananas is my boy. We have history, even though he's been kind of shady to me. Boom, you who I don't know.
Yes.
Like, and Bananas, she goes, I got you. I'm just letting you know, I'm protecting Jordan. He's my
Mm.
priority. That's gonna be my priority. I might not be able to save you again, but I gave you this one. Now
Yeah.
Bananas is kind of indebted to you as well too.
Do you think knowing what you know about Bananas, do you think he takes that indebtedness seriously?
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
from Tori?
especially if it's Tori, yeah, because
Interesting.
they do have like a close previous relationship.
I find that to be very interesting. I mean, obviously,
The
we
banana
can't like
man
run them
pays
off.
his debt. That's the he pays his debts. That's the only good thing about his character. He really does like he's really like truthful when he says, I don't take my work home with me. This is like all kind of a game. He's the showman of the show. And that
Oh,
he
I can't wait to
he
talk about the goat vote.
and he maintains like these like he tends to maintain like these firm lines of like, if you got me, I got you. If I got you, I don't got you.
Hmm.
He what he will do, he will try to weasel out of those commitments by finding very minor things that he can blow up and start arguments over and go, now I'm not loyal to you anymore because
You ate the last
you're
tortilla.
dating Devin, like
Oh,
like he did with Michelle.
hmm.
Um, but I don't. I want to. Well, this is where I wrote Devin is insufferable, and this is when it was like, I don't know what they were talking to Michelle about, but like Devin was insufferable in this moment.
I just like
Um,
wasn't paying attention to him. The only part that like pissed me off was when they did like I think Maria Menounos was like, raise your hand if you like love Josh or like something kind of like asinine like that.
mhm.
And like Devin makes like to me quite a show of like raising his like hesitating and raising his hand. And I was like, it's really not that serious.
Yeah, yeah. So this was specifically. Oh, this was a conversation specifically about bananas and the angels, and then Aviv and the comment that Michelle made to her.
Hmm.
But I just felt like this was a non-issue that those two women had obviously like cleared up. Just
We see them clear it up on the show, like during like the actual
I
show.
I agree. Like we've seen them clear it up. Like they'd
Yeah.
obviously cleared it up. They cleared some more here. It was a
Hmm.
non-issue.
Hmm.
Bananas like kind of piped him to be like, hey, like this was wrong because Aviva is a sensitive girl. She's new. She's back. She doesn't really joke around with people like that. She never says a
Yeah.
sideways word about
Oh,
anybody.
Devin says yes.
And then he pipes in. I think Amanda takes that as an opportunity to kind of say something. Like there was a whole segment where they were talking to Michelle, and a few people went and kind of like said something to or about Michelle.
Hmm.
And Devin had to pipe in. I don't really care about his comment about like, I would be jealous if I was her husband, but like nobody was talking to you. And
I just feel like it was a. Am I wrong for thinking it was like a weird thing to bring up? Like yes, it was like part of the conversation, and we were all kind of like under the implication, like that's part of the reason why it was weird for Michelle to say it in the actual moment. But once Michelle and Aviv are like, we've squashed this, like, Devin, why are you bringing up the specifics about that again? Like, I was like, why
yeah,
are you hooting and hollering? And honestly, it was the hooting and the hollering, I know, which is ironic coming from me. But I was like, why? It's
yeah.
okay for you to be quiet.
All right. Now let's
What's
talk
next?
about the femininomenon. I
I'd say something foul
go
first.
ahead.
I felt like Maria Menounos like almost stumbled through femininomenon. I was like, it's okay, girl, you got it. You got it.
She
I
probably
hope
doesn't know
we
what that is. Like she no, she said she definitely knows what that is. That's
yes.
her
I was
job.
like, I hope we gave Chapel Roan her props.
Um yeah, let's talk about it. This is where we talk about all of the ladies on the Challenge 40. And Tina, you were grinning a little too hard for me, baby. they
Why?
they
Tina's a
weren't talking about you,
lady.
girl.
Oh, damn. Well, it's fine. Tina, once again, Tina would love to know the details of that bra. You were so confident in that bra all evening.
Tina looked good.
She
What
did.
did
I
you
love
think
to see it.
here? Rachel's little toast. All of the ladies went around and said their pieces. We will talk about John A, but what do you think about the femininomenon, the
I
highlight
liked
reel?
it. I liked it. And I liked Rachel's I don't know if Tori says this during this moment where she like highlights, oh, maybe that was in response to Bananas, where like Tori gets a little like, no, this might have been about the angels actually, where she's like, no, they would have been just like fine without you, like you did not create this.
So they yeah,
It might have been about
I
the
think that
angels.
conversation had already happened.
Yeah.
They'd like sort of got into a weird little thing
Yeah.
where Tori and Devin, because they really are upset at Bananas, try to make it seem like he was taking credit for Rachel and Jenny and Aviv's performance
Yes.
on the
Yes.
show when he clearly wasn't. Like he just wasn't saying I'm the reason they're here. Like, and they're
No,
like, oh yeah, like, and it's just like you can't stand him. You're upset that he's speaking, and you need to sort of like derail the conversation. I was actually upset because I wanted to hear what he had to say in that moment. I wanted to hear what Rachel had to say in that moment because she too was also interrupted by Tori as she was talking about the
mhm.
relationship with the angels and with Bananas. But I thought it was like valuable to say. Like,
Yeah.
that's when
But
they had the wings and stuff all out.
oh, that's what, okay, yeah. But to answer your original question, I loved Rachel's toast. I don't remember, did we see Rachel's toast
Yeah, it
actually
was
during
in
the
like
show?
episode 0.
Oh, okay. I loved Rachel's toast. I love the idea and the concept of the women being the backbone. I think Avery and Tori kind of touch upon the fact that, maybe mostly Avery, about the fact that over time it has changed, right? And
Yeah.
like the role that women
So,
have
so
played in the
I was
franchise
actually
itself.
like a little upset about this little segment
Oh,
until we got to the point where Avery started speaking because I think it was like the weird like toothless like girl like it was given very
girl power.
like girl power
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
look at us we're doing it how and I do think like Avery was the first person that made like a valuable comment where it's like we're all women, we're all beautiful, we're goddesses of the earth. Like Avery was the first person that made like a real comment that was like,
Yeah.
hey, like this hasn't been the story for a long time. The women have taken a backseat, and
Mm-hmm,
it was incredible to be a part of this season where there were all of these fantastic like female competitors
mm-hmm,
and that have such amazing legacies and have made an
mm-hmm,
imprint of their own like on the show and like we're carving a space and taking up space and honestly
mm-hmm.
we were the draw of this season and that's not typically the case. Now
I think
Avery, you weren't included in that conversation, go off queen, but
anyway, Miss Queen, I'm so sorry. Tony, I hate you for
um,
that. Um, I think, and then Tori brings up that she like continues to believe that this is one of the best
that pissed
depictions
me
of.
off. I was like, why did they include that? I wouldn't if I was editing. I wouldn't have included that. When Tori said, "This is one of the only places on reality TV where women can be competitive," I was like, "Shut up!" Like,
I was factually,
it,
I was like Survivor.
yeah, Survivor, Big Brother. Well, I think she means just like the physical, like also the way it's produced, and the girls get to put hands on each other. They get to put on
I
armor and
guess.
gear and helmets and run into each other at full speed and whatever the case might be, bloody each other
Yeah.
noses. But I was just like, that's not a, I don't know. To me,
Ugh,
it wasn't a valuable statement. But I do like,
vegans.
I love these moments where the challenge just kind of flexes its history because it's it is like it's my favorite thing ever and it is like such an amazing and rich like
Hmm.
entity and
Yeah.
I just love like when I can and I love this I like this season but I just really love these types of moments when we can like because I really do as much as I'm as judgy as I am as like kind of like offhanded as I can be on some of these people I really do appreciate all of these people for doing this and like continue to come back and continue to do this and taking it so seriously
Yeah.
and making this show possible for me.
Yeah. I love that for you. And I think part of the richness of that tapestry is that people get to come back, right? Like, and well, I guess this happens on some other reality TV shows, but it
This is
is,
very unique. This concept is
yes.
very unique where outside of like Bravo reality or something like that where it's the same cast like all the time and then
Mm-hmm.
you know they're like orbiting pieces that come in and out.
Mm-hmm.
It is very unique to have a competition reality TV show where like most seasons when you come back like 70-80% of the cast you already know
Already know.
and they have history and they have
Mm-hmm.
relationships with each other that cross like into the game.
I love
Um
it.
yeah.
For this being my first foray into the challenge, I rather enjoy it.
Let's talk about Avery and Tony then.
I just had to laugh. Tony, I
Tony,
laughed with everyone else when because I believed him when he said that he's just kind of like a dog chasing tires, which I was like, cars? But when he was like, I'm going with whatever I think is going to work in the moment. I was like, yeah, that seems to be exactly the level of strategy that was applied to your
yeah,
situation.
I'm not buying that Tony tried to get himself thrown in because he was tired of being there. I'm thinking,
No,
and this is what I said when we watched it. I think Tony
you
tried
get more
to,
money for staying, right? Like you get paid per episode.
yes, well, like there's a bunch. I think they're like he missed his kids, he didn't want to be here, he wasn't in shape. Like they're doing all of that stuff.
Hmm.
Whatever the reasons that legitimate reasons or illegitimate reasons that people would want to quit the show, I don't think any of those reasons were Tony's. I really do think Tony came and thought he could pressure Avery
Agree.
and maybe guilt Derek and seeing his friend like in that position to either Avery to back up and vote the way he wanted to go, or for Derek to feel guilty enough to just like volunteer himself, and then that Derek would put himself in, and Tony would not have to go back on his word to Darrell and
Right.
Jody.
No,
Um,
I was just gonna say that. I mean, Tony basically says a version of that in his little interview, not interview, in his participation, where he really did seem to think that Avery was just gonna back down at the end. Like he seemed very confident, I guess, that Avery was gonna not call his bluff, and then she did, and then he didn't know what to do. Well, it's not that he didn't know what to do. He just did not have a plan for that.
yeah, I mean, I also think that at the end of the day, he was also like, I could probably win, and then he just didn't win.
And then he also just didn't win.
Yeah, I think he was like, hey, if we're gonna stalemate, I gotta go in. I think it's, you know what it is? It's what we're seeing with Tyler and Ashley right now. Like when you just because like when you just become entrenched in
Yeah.
like your perspective, you
Yeah.
cannot like concede and go, oh, maybe I was wrong. Y'all got it. I think,
Doomed by the narrative.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think Tony was just like, I'm not backing down. And he went around the whole house telling everybody he's not backing down and I might still make this thing. It would have looked really, I think he is one of those players that's like, oh, I'm not going to do, like, I just told everybody I was going to do the thing if it happened. I can't just be like, oh, no, thank you. Like, I'll look like a coward. I'll look soft. I'll look weak. So now I got to see it through. And it
Yeah.
just didn't go in his favor. And and not for nothing, I do think that like if he had gone in and he won, maybe it wouldn't be the greatest move ever, like he said, but it would certainly
Yeah.
like people would certainly would have been like, okay, what a maverick! Like it would have
Yes.
added to the Tony time allure and the and his thing of just like of
I
full
was like,
send. I
oh
mean,
my
that's his
gosh.
whole thing, full send, baby. Like, so it would
He's
have
so
just
ridiculous.
added to
And
that
his
narrative.
underwear, did you notice his underwear had a hole in it?
Yes. I thought I was getting ready to tell you that because I didn't think you noticed. But yes, I did.
Noticed immediately. I was like,
Right cheek.
Tony.
I was like, is that skin?
I was like, Tony, oh my gosh. This is not giving what you thought it was giving.
Oh yeah,
There's a hole in
absolutely.
your
I
underwear.
noticed.
Oh my
Do you have
God.
any other thoughts on Antonio and Avery?
No, just that Avery would strangle him with her bare hands if she could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that said, I actually do want to talk about like the targeting thing and the volunteering for targeting, and I want to get your thoughts on that.
Mm. Well, I mean, within the context of the reunion themselves, they were all in uproar about, well, some of them were up in an up were up.
In an uproar.
Thank you.
In an
In an uproar. Thank you.
yes.
Some of them were in an uproar about whether or not you should like label yourself or you shouldn't label yourself, including Amanda, who was like, why would you ever do that?
What
And
do you mean label yourself?
what other word should I use? Volunteer yourself.
Oh, volunteer
Thank
yourself.
you. That you should never like volunteer yourself. I mean, John A specifically, I kind of like didn't really buy that, like, well, I didn't really want to do it kind of situation. Because I was like, if it's a team vote and like they have the numbers for volunteering and you don't want to volunteer, the team has
Actually,
voted on
here
that.
I kind of oh, finish your thought out.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that I mean, think that it I don't think I know enough gameplay wise about how the challenges worked group wise in the past to make
Hmm.
like a definitive statement about targeting, but I feel like the only fair way would be to just volunteer. But then
So,
I also don't really fault Josh for seeing CT and being like, never mind.
so I think with Amanda's comment specifically of like you're also like one, you're taking the drama and the sort of like intentionality behind like
Mhm.
of this behind, from the people who just won an elimination round, and you're taking their
Mhm.
power away. But to that, I say one thing, and I said it before. Who like if I won a challenge and there was
Mhm.
like men on era one that I was working with and wanted to protect, I don't care who raised their hand to volunteer. It's my power. I just won.
I was literally
Like
just about to ask you if we ever saw anything that was like anybody being like, well, you don't have to
I don't
do
know if
that.
we saw it, but I know if the game says that the winner of the of the elimination round chooses who goes in, one there are two reasons why the winners may just go with who volunteer. You don't make an enemy out of someone, right?
Yeah, that would be my
And
thought.
like maybe you don't really know or don't really have strong feelings. Sure. But like if I'm John A, like Jordan made it seem like that was ridiculous when Amanda, when you're taking the power out of their hands, and Jordan's like, exactly, you take the power away from them. And like that pissed me off because I'm like, no, you can't have it. How about that, Jordan? No, it's not
Yeah.
you. I'm throwing Devin in.
Yeah.
Like, how about that?
Yeah.
Like the thing with John A is I think she tried to like I wish she would have I love it when people do fuck shit and stand on it. Like I don't I don't particularly hate when people do fuck shit. If that's what's on your spirit, like let it be that. But then don't come up here and try to, ooh, well, y'all was trying to and y'all I was coerced. No, you weren't, baby. You
Mhm.
never intended to volunteer. You should have just stood on it. I'm not volunteering. Make them make a
Period.
decision. They might still throw you in, and then that's something a consequence you'll have to live with.
Yeah.
But it's your decision. So now all you got to do is once you know who the targets are, you got to go buddy up to them and cut a deal. That's it. Like what are
That's
we
it.
what
And
are we
that's
doing
why
here? What do I care if Jordan thinks I'm brave? Like I don't care.
that's kind of why I really respect Josh with the CT moment is he looked at the playing field because and we were still in eras at that point in time. And so you knew who your other people were going to be by the time you get to Josh. Not everybody got that advantage, obviously, but Josh did have that advantage of definitively knowing that there would be a chance that he would have to go against CT. And he said, not today. And
like I
I don't blame him.
I'm pretty sure the person that threw John A in, I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty
Mm.
sure they like needed allies. Like the fact that she couldn't go, hey, I don't want to volunteer. I don't think I'm gonna plan on volunteering today, and couldn't like go and talk to the boys that were in, like, hey, if you win
Mm.
and you don't pick me, if you pick any other woman from my era, I'm not gonna raise my hand. I got you. I'll never say your name either. And you
Yes.
spend the whole season complaining about how you don't have any allies and you don't have relationships and everybody know each other and you don't know nobody. That's how you make a relationship low
Yep.
quid pro quo real fast. And
Excellent.
also,
Mhm.
I do think there is a point, like while I said all of that, I do think there's a point to be made that like, is it worth like alienating and ruining the relationships with your team? I think if you do it my way, you ain't got no choice but to stand on it. Yeah. Like I don't care about these rules. But if you do it
Yes.
her way, like you don't volunteer, you still got thrown in. And it's still, oh, because it was Nehemiah. She never went and talked to him. And
Mm.
you still have to contend with the rest of your team losing
Yes.
trust in you. You have
Yes.
to pick, if I'm going to lose the trust of my team, I need to make sure I'm cultivating a new ally and a stronger ally.
Mm.
And she didn't do either. She
Mhm.
didn't like try to like go to her team and mend that and kind of go, hey guys, I'm not
Mhm.
feeling too good about this. Da 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 da. Nor did she try to reach out to Nehemiah or the boys that were in elimination to save her skin. And
Yes.
it was
Oh
like
no,
her like,
I
and
don't
this
disagree.
is like the difference between All Stars and the flagship, because like you got to go politics, you got to get up, you got to clock in, and you got to go to Capitol Hill and get that bill pushed through, baby. You got to put your suit on and be a politician in these
Yes.
challenge streets. You can't just like, oh well, I think it's gonna be a thing. Well,
You've got to get to
there
lobbying, Miss
you gotta
Ma'am.
go lobby. You
You got
gotta
to
go
go
lobby.
lobby.
You might have to grease a few palms. You might
Yes.
have to give a foot massage or two. She could have been an angel if she really
You
wanted.
gotta get really into feet, girl. You gotta get really into feet. Oh my God, that makes me
um,
think of the TikTok, the British rapper woman China on TikTok. Do you know who
oh,
I'm talking? Oh my God,
yeah,
she
yeah,
says,
yeah.
"Shut up and grease my feet." Look,
Shut up
I'm
and
like,
grease
I
my
love you,
feet.
woman. She's so fantastic. Lesbian
Let's talk
icon.
about the challenge go.
I was just like, I just automatically thought it would be Johnny, like in terms of, I don't know. No, because they argue about this, about like how many times and all that jazz.
They're hating. I'm just say that right now. The people on that stage are hating. It
Do you
should
think?
be Johnny.
Yeah, I just thought it would
Whether you
automatically
like him
be
or
Johnny.
not, it should be Johnny. They tried to like
Yes.
and I think there's a case for Jordan for sure. I actually think after this season, Jordan probably has a much stronger case than he did before this season.
Yeah.
But it's Jonathan Bananas. Like I don't know. I
I
don't know.
didn't
What are
know
your
this was
thoughts?
an
Why
argument.
did you think it should be Johnny's? And then I want to get your thoughts on the women as well too.
Well, from everything I know, it's just that he's won the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of thought that was our general argument for goats everywhere is that they do the most winning. And so I was like, oh, it's going to be Bananas because he's won the most. Because I thought that was the way that we measured goats literally always.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't really watch sports. There's debate on like what constitutes a goat, right? This
Oh
is this is
God.
legitimately the Jordan LeBron argument, right? Jordan got more rings. LeBron got more finals appearances. LeBron got X amount of finals straight in a
Oh
row.
yeah.
LeBron got the record, the scoring record. That's basically the argument they're making with Jordan. Yes, Johnny has won more, but Jordan has never lost a final.
That's fair. But do you think Banana seemed hurt? Because I feel like
Yeah, for
Banana seemed
sure.
hurt.
I think he seemed pissed off, and I would too. Like rightfully, I honestly think,
You just hit me with a point, Dexter, by the way. You said
and I would too. I
do
honestly
people
think
to me.
that they were salty. They all fell out with Bananas. They all kind of hate him, and
Hmm.
I think all of era 3 and era 4 voted for Bananas, and the real one, I mean, voted for Jordan, and the real ones
Hmm.
was like, nah, like come on, or like if we're talking goats, like I don't like if we're talking goats, it's Johnny Bananas. Could Jordan be a goat after another couple of seasons? If Jordan comes back once or twice more and goes to another final and wins it and like retires never having lost the final, I think you have a good point. But like
Hmm.
I mean
I thought
the
it was
way
a
Johnny was
foregone.
carrying this franchise, like Johnny literally won like 4 out of 5 at some point in his career. He went two, lost one, won another two, and then went to like another two straight finals and won one of those as well too. Like then like he won rivals. Then he had the Sarah spell on him for a bit. He had to break that demon off of him. Excuse me. And then he came back and won again. And he's since Total Madness, he's been in every finals. Like
I mean, Bananas is the only single person on this
and
show.
also people are always gunning for him. Like part of like the allure. I mean, part of the allure. Part of the part of the advantage that Jordan has is people are genuinely trying to cultivate him as an ally for most of the game. They're
Hmm.
rarely coming for him.
Hmm.
And yeah, they're really coming for him. So he gets way more rest in the seasons that he's on. Like I know
Yeah.
in all of his wins, except for this one, I think he's been into an elimination. He's been into at least one elimination in every single one of his wins,
Did he not go to
but
elimination this
he
season?
didn't go in this season.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
targeted, but he never went it. Um, so outside of this one, all of his other wins, he's been into elimination at least once,
Hmm.
but he doesn't really have to go often. Like Bananas has had like seasons where, and I hated Bananas before season 40. Like I cannot stress that enough. Like he annoyed me. He eats up so much of the edit. I did love it this season. I'm not gonna lie, but he eats up so
Hmm.
much of the edit on the seasons that he's on, and I would
Hmm.
rather just hear from other people sometimes.
Yeah.
And he's not my goat. Like if we're being like absolutely subjective, like
Hmm.
Landon's my goat, but and Landon's my goat. I miss you, Landon.
Fair
But
enough.
you can't like he's the goat.
I
I
mean,
feel like
I thought it was a foregone conclusion. I was a little bit confused when they brought up
it's
Jordan.
this is the point of the goat debate. So like Kylan said, is that you always are supposed there is not an objective goat. You can't have one.
That's
That's
completely
the
fair.
point of having these conversations is to spur more conversation. So
As a
we
non-challenged human being, Bananas is the only person that I even knew existed and was related to the challenge outside
yeah.
of literally watching this season, which is part of the reason why in my head he is a go, because for me to know who he is and never have watched the challenge before, I feel like that matters. To me, that's giving flagship. And then Tori gave her little speech about him being something of the franchise, being the showman of the franchise. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they were mad at him. They wanted to humble him, and then this is why because like is crazy because once the goat is named, Jordan is uncomfortable, but everybody else is like, if we're talking this, and like they have to like put those qualifiers on.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all hating, bruh. Y'all could have gave that man his
Jordan
little
was very
title, let him have his
uncomfortable.
little moment. That's a great way to celebrate him. You don't know how many more of these he's gonna do, and when he leaves for good, because there was a period of time where he wasn't appearing on a bunch of these. It was really fucking boring. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
And when he leaves for good, like send him off with this little superficial title because even if they gave it to Bananas, there's going to be tons of people on the internet going, "It's Jordan, and clearly it's CT. Of course it's Wes. Like, how could you say that? It's Cyrus. Like, whatever." Like,
Why does Jordan start sweating at some point? Do you remember what that was about? He like takes off his hat and he's fanning his head.
oh, when he made a comment, we'll get there. He made the comment about
Oh,
they
that
just
hasn't
want to
happened
be
yet.
on
Okay.
TV again.
Okay. I didn't remember if that had already happened yet or not.
Yeah. So I mean, oh no, that's not true. Jordan did lose a couple of finals. What? So what the hell are they talking about? Because I just remember Jordan was in the finals on Ride or Die.
I can't fact check you. I don't know
No,
these
no, no, no. Hold
things.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me think. Jordan was in the finals on Ride or Die, and and he was in the finals on Rivals too. So what the hell are they talking about? Bananas had more finals appearances and more finals wins. Oh yeah, wrap it up. Ain't no conversation, baby. It's Jonathan. Ain't no competition. It's
Yes.
Jonathan. I know Johnny has like twice as many daily wins. Johnny probably has twice as many like elimination wins. So Jordan's comments. Mm, I love this.
I
Jordan
know.
said.
I said Mariama loved this. She did. She did.
Jordan said those people needed a check, and they've been thirsty for an opportunity to get back on TV. And I always get the call, and I don't always show up. I always get the call though. Derek, do you always get a call? What did you think about that?
I thought this was foul. I thought this was so foul. I was like, why did we do this? And I feel like Jordan, by the nature of the fact that he physically started sweating, was immediately like, oh no, why did I
Oh
bring
no,
this up?
stand on it. I love it.
Well, he did
I would
not
have
want to
tripled
stand on
down
it.
on it. Listen, Jordan making too much sense. Now, you can call it multiple things can be true at one. We can't do a battle of the eras without calling people from era one.
Well, yes.
Right? Like we can't do this show without them here. So they had to get called for the show. And could it also be true that they've been itching for their opportunity? Hell yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with it?
I don't, that was my thing is I was kind of like, I don't see what's wrong with it, especially knowing that you get like, it's not only the prize money, you actually get paid for appearance too. Like the,
Yeah.
I feel like that's fine. It's a job. I mean, it's a very unique job, but it is still a job.
It's a supplemental income for a lot of
Yeah,
people, and that's major.
that
Um,
is exactly.
what the other things I do want to talk about is now this was pissing me off because John A said I feel like I should have been in era too because I got more friends over there, and
I was confused.
I was like, now why the hell would you be in era two? But this was ridiculous. A couple other people made this thing. Amanda's comments about there's some people missing from era three. This was my thing with this cast as well too, and they couldn't get. It seems like they couldn't get all of the big names, all of the big hitters. So we went ahead and supplemented with some medium names, right, to fill it out. Like And she was right. Avery didn't want to hear it, but era 3, Avery, why are you here? Because Ashley could have been here, like she said.
Yes. Do we that was my question for you. I'm assuming we like Ashley?
We love Money Mitch. That's we love Money Mitch. That's Ashley Millionaire
Yes.
Mitchell,
Okay. Yes, fair
aka
enough.
Money Mitch,
And then who was the man? It was,
aka
but
Smashley.
wasn't it? But I think the other point, the other half of that was Nelson, and I thought Nelson was injured.
Nelson is disabled now. I was going to use a
Yeah.
different word. Nelson is an amputee now. I
Yeah.
think
So I
this
feel
was
like I thought we knew
no,
that.
but she's correct. Like it should have been Nelson if Nelson hadn't gotten in a car accident and had to have his leg
Mm,
amputated. Like
fair
she's
enough.
still correct. Um, but I don't think she was saying that I don't think she was saying like there are names missing from era 3 that should be here, and there certainly were. Like, and
Mm.
Avery kind of getting up in arms about that, and like Avery, John A, Naya, all three of y'all.
We should have done this at the beginning of this season, but well, no, you don't have to answer it now, but I would have loved to have you tell me like who you would want, like with the number of people that we did have, like if you got to pick who everybody
Oh, I can
was.
do it. I can do it right now.
Oh,
Era one, honestly, because we did do this. We did film this episode. We just never put it out. I don't think you remember a lot of it.
oh, the zero.
Yeah.
Ah,
Uh,
yes. I forgot. Yes.
Era one, largely really good casting. Katie's a little questionable. Tina is a smidge questionable, but I'm gonna assume they didn't have many other choices. Tina has dubs. Like Tina has wins. She has deep runs. It was a different game though. It's like putting it's like putting like George Mikan or somebody in, into like you can't compare. Tina was dominant in her era. She couldn't have been
Mhm.
dominant in any other era because the
That
the
makes sense.
competition amongst women is just too stiff. Like after, and that's why part of the reason too that she hasn't been back a lot since she her first little like retirement is because she just
Mhm.
couldn't compete. Um, Anissa is a must cast, but I wish Anissa would have been like, yo, it's season 40. Let me show up. Like, let me really show up and get on my
Mhm.
Anissa bully type stuff. Cora, not Kara, would have been nice to have, but I think she's been long done with the challenge.
Mhm.
Jamie Chung would have kind of been nice to have, but she ain't coming back for us.
I don't know
um,
why, but I'm laughing.
um, the men were pretty perfectly cast. Like era one men probably have like such a rich pool of contestants to choose from because that was back in the day when it was just the thing like everybody did every challenge.
Mhm.
But like they would have been good to have. Era two notably has some like lifetime bans in there, so there are some men that will never be back. We'll talk about it when we get there, but for a terrible
Oh
thing,
my God.
they
Like
deserve
for like actual things outside of the show?
to
Or
be banned. That's all I'll say.
oof. Okay.
Um,
Yikes.
era two, yeah, era two, the women like perfection,
Mm.
like really perfection. Laurel, Cara, Aviv, um, Emily. Who was the last one? That's the one I can't think of.
Who is the last one?
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. um, wait, what did I do? Uh, Kellyanne. Kellyanne is a questionable choice, but it makes sense because I know
Love
Sarah.
Kellyanne.
I know Sarah ain't coming back. I know Evelyn's not coming back. I know Paula's not coming back. I know Susie's not coming back for this mess. So like Kellyanne is probably the weakest. I mean, weakest in terms of like legacy and all of that type of stuff. There are probably bigger names or just like people
Mhm.
that I would have loved personally. I would have loved to see an Evelyn or a Paula
Mhm.
instead of Kellyanne, but she's a really great choice probably from the options that they had.
Mhm.
The men do leave a little to be desired. Like not for nothing, I've always really really liked Derek on this show. He's not like an all-star and OG right.
Mhm.
Neither is Ryan and Nehemiah barely. Like barely. Nehemiah just ekes like but like barely. Brandon nah. So the men on era 2 really are weak. I would have liked to seen some of them replaced if we could have gotten them. Even if
Mhm.
we would have gotten like an Adam or something, which I don't think Adam would do this. but like Adam would be pretty good one that we can choose. Tyree, although I don't think he would have been much better than like the performance that we saw from the men out of era two. He is somebody that could have been there, maybe like a Dunbar or something. Like at this point, like Dunbar and Nehemiah's kind of like legacies are kind of like quite similar. But those are just some names off the top of my head. Um,
Three.
there are three men, the best like cohort of men on the entire season, and it's not not for nothing. An era three man was the male winner of the season, so I wouldn't change anything here on era three. I love Corey. I really like Jordan. It's always like a pleasure to see Jordan on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little muted this season, like he wasn't like as involved.
Is
um
Devin 3 or 4?
Devin is three.
Okay.
Jordan wasn't as involved this season, but it is always like nice to see him. I personally really do appreciate watching Jordan. Yes, Jordan in a finals. Like I think it's one of the best things that you get to witness on this show is to just see like how formidable he is in the final, how like seriously he takes it, how competitive he is, and like he understands the stakes and like how big the moment is, and he always like does his very best to deliver. So he is like a pleasure to watch, like always in a final.
Waff King.
Um, yeah, Corey, I just love. I want to see Corey get that dub. I don't know how many more of these he'll do as well, but perfect casting. Um, Devin is a good cast. Devin is a really good choice. I wouldn't mind seeing him replaced by a Nelson or a Hunter if we could have had it, but it is a very good choice. I wouldn't move Tony. If I did move anybody else from Era 3, it might be Leroy, but Leroy is a. I'll only remove Leroy because he was out first. But like when I saw this, I was very excited to see Leroy back. But yeah, like
Oh my God, I forgot about Leroy.
people who could come up in here in Era 3, yeah, like I said, maybe there's not a lot of choices because I think the other choices that we have is like Tori's ex Derek, that Derek, I don't even know his last name. I'm not, I can't think about many more. Because there are a lot of people I don't know, they're on the cusp. I don't know if they're era 3 or era 4, but I'm thinking like TYB, maybe get Corey one of his TYB buddies in here, like a Hunter or a Nelson. And that could have
What does
made things
TYB stand for?
Team Young Buck. That could have made things kind of interesting. The women here, the weak choices are Janae and Avery. I do think like a lot of people have been like wanting to see Naya back. I've been wanting to see Naya back. I wouldn't mind if she wasn't here. Like she really hasn't done too much to deserve to like really you can't have a season 4 without Naya. We definitely could have. But I would have loved to see Ashley. I would. Oh man, this is another lifetime ban. D is D era 3 or era 4? Ooh, Camilla. Oh, era. Ooh. Yeah, she's a lifetime ban as well too. Okay.
Oh my God.
I
We
think
don't know if Nia and Kylan are still dating.
I don't think no, they're not. They're not. I
Oh.
someone sent me a tweet that she put out.
Oh.
Um, and then yeah, like Amanda was very spot on about Era 3. I can't think of many ladies from Era 3. Jenna. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The challenge Barbie. She could have been here. Oh man, I forgot about Zach too. Zach could have definitely been here. Oh hell yeah. That would have been crazy. Yeah, they're not here though. They're married. They're off the show. They're married and they have kids.
To each other?
Yeah, to each other.
Oh.
It's I do love Jenna. Zach. Zach
Uh-oh.
leads a life to be desired.
Don't they always?
Era 4.
Mm-hmm.
Kylan is really the weakest choice here. I think Kylan prior to this season had done one season of like, but it's like Era 4. I'm not like too upset about it because it's like outside of like Fessy, Casey, and Josh, who they just casted on every single season of Era 4. Like most of the other people in Era 4, they're just starting out. They don't have like as long of resumes. Most of them have only done like a few challenges prior. This was Kylan's third challenge season. He did the challenge USA, and then he got called for season 39, and then he did this one.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought he was going to do really well here, and I guess he did do really well here. He went to the final, so
Go to the final, yes.
it's a dub for him. But if anything, replace him with I hate to say it, Fessy. I love Fessy. It's the rest of the Big Brother alliance that I don't like. Like I don't like Casey and I don't like Josh, but I really have always loved Fessy, and the internet bullied Fessy until he became boring. He went from being messy Fessy to Faisal, and Faisal's kind of boring.
That's a government name.
But that's really all I can think of. Maybe like a turbo. That would have been juicy, especially after he just beefed with all of these people on season 39. Bring him right back. I actually would have really
Chaos.
loved to see like Georgia in here, maybe outside of like maybe like not outside of Michelle and maybe Georgia or like I said, D or Ninja Natalie, who has some history with Laurel that like could have been interesting as well too. But other than that, I thought Jenny was a great choice. I thought Nerys and Horacio were great choices. Casey's a great choice, even if I don't like her. Theo is an excellent choice. Olivia is like kind of a little bit weaker for me because I just
Yeah.
think Olivia's only really here because she had like issues with Nerys last season. Michelle is kind of a good choice, like considering that she's done like US World Champions or USA 2, I don't remember. And then she's did like a couple of other seasons, and she has like the storied like reality television show background from Survivor. So she's a very good choice to have. Josh is a great choice. Like Era 4 is defined by Josh and Casey and Fessy and that Big Brother alliance. But like I wouldn't have mind seeing Amber here instead of like an Olivia, or maybe seeing who was the other girl's name that I said? I don't remember.
Where would Wes be?
Wes is retired, and I really think he means this because Leroy retired and then he came back. Wes is retired, and I think he means it. But Wes would Wes would be like era 2, but I want to say Wes might be on the cusp of era 1.
What is
I can't.
how did they divide
I'm
it?
pretty sure Wes's first season was Fresh Meat. I'm fair, which Fresh Meat was like season 12. Oh, Wes would be era 2. He'd be, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He'd be with Bananas.
I find him to be interesting and fun.
Wes is great. You'll love Wes. I got to introduce you to Wes so we can discuss.
My only other thought is I loved the you've been unblocked pillow. I loved it. That made
Oh
me so
yeah,
happy.
yeah, I did have that there. I the only thought I had on Car, I thought Anissa made a really good statement when she was like, we were young and da da da, and it made me really think about something that I think about
Hmm.
all the time, which is like you meet people where you are, not where they are, and I think that like you interpret people's behaviors and their actions through the lens of like your capacities and like your own traumas.
Of course.
And I do think like when Cara was hating hard on Tori, she had some things going on that she needed to like
Yeah.
get together. And now that she's moved, I hate seeing them as friends, but it's healing, so
Good
whatever.
for them.
Good for them, not for
Good
me
for
though.
well,
And they
yes,
should have been
in
in the
most
in the
things.
sand. But
Oh, for the elimination, yes.
what did you think of the season? What did you think of the reunion? The reunion.
I think it was a fine reunion. I actually did enjoy that we actually like got some answers to some things, or at least talked about some things more. I mean, overall, this is a very interesting show. I don't have all of the. Let's start that whole sentence again. Because I don't have all of the background information that you do, I don't obviously know all of the intricacies, but like as something I've never seen before, I actually really liked it. And it isn't, well, I know this season was obviously different because it was eras, but it wasn't like hard to like catch up to and like be and have a fun time with. Um, I don't think honestly, I don't think I would change anything. I mean, I will say that my hatred of bananas is a little bit less than it was toward the beginning of the season. But I'm still in love with Tori Deal as I have been this whole time.
Um. Okay. Other question. What
Yes.
do you want to see next season? Is there anybody you want to see back? Is there any formatting you want to see? What type of challenges? What really did it for you?
Clarification, because I still don't understand this flagship versus non-flagship situation. Is Rivals not no All Stars Rivals not the next season?
No.
Okay, so
All
we're
Stars Rival is the next All Star season.
okay, so it's like a separate entity. So we're talking about
Yeah.
what would theoretically be season 41.
Yes, season
Um,
41. Oh, and I have some breaking news, some terrible, horrible, horrifying news, but we'll get there
oh God. What would I like to see
about season
next season?
41.
Do they ever have it in a cold place?
Mm-hmm. We've been to Prague while it was very cold. We've been to Ireland, like the UK, any like tons of places in the UK. We've been to Germany while it was very cold. We've been to Argentina, Chile,
I
like
would like it to be
down south
cold,
cold.
and then I would like.
It won't be. We're like it probably won't be. They haven't been doing that recently.
Not that you
Oh
were
well, no,
asking.
actually, no. They did it on Double Agents and Total Madness and another one. And I think like we are gonna be in warmer places for at least a few seasons.
It's probably easier too. But if I had my way, it would be cold. I don't want any teams. I want just a straight individual, no, not even couples. I would want to see just how the game works with like literally everybody in it for themselves. Um, and who would I want to see? I want more Amanda. I feel like I didn't get any Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like she's, well, I guess it would be appropriate to say demonic with the way that she was dressed.
Entertaining could have also worked.
Fair enough. I feel like that would be a rip roaring good time. Ooh, we've talked about this before. As long as I can deal with anything, as long as Laurel and Kara are not there together. And
Yeah.
that, other than that, I don't think there's anything. Um, I don't really think there's anybody that I would like hate to see. I just would not want to see Laurel and
I
Kara
mean,
together.
considering that I didn't ask you who you'd hate to see,
Oh,
you don't need
well,
to answer that.
valid, fair enough. Thank you for that. Any other
um,
questions for me?
no, that's all.
Okay, I don't have any questions for you. Well, actually, no, I did. Compared to all of the other seasons of the show, how did you like
How
this?
does this rank? Very middle.
Oh,
Very, very mid.
okay. What would have made
um,
it great?
to be honest, I really did have quite an issue with the formatting
Hmm.
of the four teams. I think it's really hard to make four teams work
Hmm.
because like unless like you alternate like guys and girls days. I don't know. I because I thought about this. I thought about ways to try to make this season work formatting, which I can't recall any now because I didn't because when I was watching an episode, I was like, dang, I wish we would have saw this, that, or the third.
Hmm.
But yeah, I thought about ways to make it work. I think it's really difficult to like make this like we saw era one get decimated. I think at least one team was always destined for this sort of outcome, or at the
Hmm.
very least, like you were gonna just kind of see like multiple teams decimated and then one team like we were either going to see like one team just dominant and never lose a single player
Hmm.
and take all 10 of their players into the end, or we were going to see like the opposite, which is what we saw. I just think like these sort of like
Yeah.
like mid-sized or small teams like formatting like multiple team formatting formats um don't really work well, and I really had hoped that we would have just done this in in teams. I wish it would have been a team final. I
Until the end.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I wish it would have been a team final. And I think like maybe like the 40 doesn't really work for that with a 40 cast with the 14 format and the 40 person cast. But I think
Yeah.
just do two teams then. Do like an era one, era two site. You can still have like 10 players representing each era, but you can kind of go, hey, this is our OGs from era one to era two. This is our new old school versus new school type. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and just kind of went from there. We could have alternated like girl guy elimination days.
Hmm.
You'd have or honestly, you could have two eliminations every time. Same thing. One guy and one girl go home. Like nothing else
Yeah.
changes, except that each team has 20 people, and then maybe the other team gets to vote in like who from that team that they want or whatever.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I wish we hadn't seen that. I think for the next season, I really would like a large, now that I said it, I really would like a large two team format. I would love to see like two large teams, and I wanted to stay in teams because I was thinking about this. This is the one thing that we haven't done in a while. We've played with the doubles, we've played with the I mean, I we had a team final in War of the Worlds too, but I feel like we're a few seasons out from that. I think that was like 32, 31, something like
Oh,
that.
a while, yeah.
Yeah. Or shoot, it's probably no, yeah, it was probably like 33. It's been a long time since we've had that. I would love to see two teams. I didn't like the US international format. But like let's bring bro, we can go back to the well. Let's bring back a gauntlet, rookies versus vets, all new school on one
Hmm.
team, which is what I just said. Bring back an inferno, good guys versus badasses, basically the heroes versus the villains of the challenge.
Yeah.
Like we can do that stuff because we haven't done it in quite a long time. Um, and I would love to see that. You get like a nice you can get like two teams of 16 or something like that. Get like eight villainous women and eight villainous men on one team, and then 10 I mean 8 good guys and 8 good women.
Eight villainous women sounds like a fantastic time.
Like I think that'd be very interesting. Like we can go
Mm.
back. We can do another free agents, y'all. Y'all know it's the best format. Why was there never a free agents too? I know y'all try to put aspects of free agents into every game now. Just do a free agents. Like free agents was they start off with a like an individual game. It's an individual game. Everybody is
Mm-hmm.
a free agent. Like
Mm-hmm.
signified by the fact that everybody has different colored jerseys. You're a team of one basically, but
Okay.
each daily challenge has like a different format. So sometimes it's a individual daily, sometimes it's played in pairs and girl pairs or guy girl pairs, or sometimes it's played in teams of 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can strategically align in those like teams for that day or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but you're only loyal to yourself. And so your decisions, your voting, your
Interesting.
everything, it's what's going to be for your best interest, even when you're partnering up with other challengers. But you
Hmm.
know from the beginning that the finals is going to be an individual final. The game is an individual game. You're only in it for yourself. Nobody can save you for you. Loved it.
Okay. I
And the
kind of like
challenges
that.
were very good. Anything
I feel
else,
like
Maddie?
the bad news.
Oh yes, season 41. Our sister, our girl, our queen, Nerese, hit the Twitter streets to let the people know that she will not be appearing on season 41.
Oh,
Tragedy.
any reason?
I don't think she said. I think she's mad that they cheated her boyfriend, and she's been beefing with a lot of people. I mean, not a lot of people. A few people.
That's valid. She's still with Horacio?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not on Twitter. I do not check this, so all I see is the little bits and bobs that come to
Mm,
me through
mm.
my YouTube algorithm sometimes, or
Messenger
I'll see
pigeon.
like a community post from like a challenge YouTuber every now and then.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'll know something has happened.
The great Oracle rests.
Yeah. I
Oh.
got it. Thank you for watching. As always, the description will contain the rest of our coverage of the challenge season 40. Please also
Mhm.
do check out our channel for the other shows that we've talked about. We're currently watching season 3 of The Traders US, and we will be uploading videos for the challenge All Stars 5. So
Mhm.
stay tuned for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.